Welcome back, brothers and sisters, to another episode of Can I Get a Witness? I'm your host, Tyrone Ellis. I want to thank you all for coming back and being with me. Listen, before we get started, do me a favor subscribe, like, and share this video on your Facebook page, on your Instagram. Uh, Definitely subscribe. I need a subscription. I'm trying to raise at least 10,000 subscriptions by December of 2024. I want to hit that plateau. But not only share, but like this video if you find this subject something that interests you. And definitely leave me some comments in the comment box when you get a chance. So, uh, a few weeks ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, the wife and I, we had the opportunity to go and see a movie at the picture show. It was a movie produced by Angel Studios, and we're not going to get into anything about Angel Studios. We talk about that on another show. But it was produced by Angel Studio, and the name of the picture show was called After Death. After Death. Uh, it was more of a documentary than it was a actual show or a movie. And it was really actually very interesting because it talked about people who were having out of body experience or who were having near death experience. And so that interests me. After we got through in the show, my wife and I we discussed it, but it interests me so much that I started digging into other videos of people who have that same experience. And believe it or not, it's so ironic that most people who testified of having a near death experience or out of body experience almost share the same testimony. A few differences here and there, but that drive me to the video today because I came across a video when I was doing a near death experience and out of body experience. This video dropped into my feed, and this video I'm about to show you today. It just struck home with me. It just hit to the heart. It struck home, and it got to the point where I wanted to show you guys this video and make some comments on it. So I'm going to go ahead and get you guys lined up to see this video. Um, the title of the video is "Urgent Warning: God Shows Man the Judgment Day." So we're going to take a look and see what this video says. So here we go.
October the 2nd, the most traumatizing and awakening day of my life.
He had an out of body experience, y'all.
Me and Rob will be married 3 years in this October. And in those 3 years, God has really been growing him. And the way he has been dealing with him has been very peculiar. I mean, the dreams that he brings to him, you only know that it's from God because man couldn't think of these things. I mean, and he backs it up with his word. So the dream that you are about to hear is really a testimony from God. And I suggest when you watch this, you not only just watch it and feel that it's something to entertain you, but you evaluate yourself and you make sure your house is in order for when God comes because no man knows the day or the hour. Because I had to do the same thing.
I remember it was on a Thursday. Matter of fact, let's take it back. Wednesday night, I found myself looking at these different YouTube clips and watching different out of body experiences and different films that they used to scare me, and I would watch it and it would blow me away. It would catch my attention, and it used to scare me so bad that I would wonder. I would My mind used to go in place like, God, is this stuff real? I couldn't understand it because I've never been to that place. So I found myself praying. I remember walking outside of my apartment, and I was walking back and forth with my eyes closed, just started praying. And I asked God, I said, Lord, if you give me an out of body experience, I vow to share your word and to tell the people what I saw.
First of all, I'm gonna say this: this brother volunteered for out of body experience. Yeah, he said, God, if you give me an out of body experience, I'm like, how many people will pray for something like that, man? You got to be really secure in your relationship with God to ask for something like that. I just want to bring that point. First thing I thought about when I heard this video. So, all right, I'm gonna bring that. We're gonna keep on going, y'all.
Not expecting that God was gonna respond back to that because I was just praying out. I was just praying, not actually looking for a response. And after that night, the next morning, that Thursday, October the 2nd, I had a dream, and my spirit left my body. It was like I was in my apartment, and my spirit got pulled out of my body, and I would go in these different transits, bright color lights. It was white, like the best way I can explain it would be shoo, 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 all the different flashing lights, and I appeared before a blue sky with no clouds. It was like a blue place, no land, no trees, no grass, no water, nothing. There was nothing there but a blue atmosphere. And I would see this atmosphere goes millions of miles upon millions of miles where nothing existed. It was like nothing was hidden. Everything was revealed. Everything was before your eyes. You could see it. And we was in this clear kind of body form, some form of light, as you would refer to a soul or a spirit, and I could see through. It was so transparent, and in front of me was thousands among thousands, similar to what I was, and thousands among thousands behind me. And I knew that it was some form of a soul, and in the middle of my chest were seeds, multiple seeds. I didn't know what they were for, and I realized that I was the only being that could actually move out of my place and look and observe, smell, taste, feel. All my senses were active at this point, and so I began to look around and to observe the things that I saw, not knowing that this was a dream. I thought this was reality. I thought this was actually happening, you know. And I looked forward, and there was this great shadow way in front of me, way at the end of the line. It was like 1,000 people in front of me, and there was a shadow, a great big shadow, but it had no detail. It was like as a vapor, and I could see that it was a shadow of something that was in the front. And I had many questions at this point in this dream, and out of nowhere, I heard these words: "Depart from me." And this galaxy, this portal, I don't know what to call it, on the right side of God, or Jesus Christ, whoever you decide to identify that spot of judgment. On the right side of him, there was this big portal that opened up, and there will be stones of fire. Hey, normally when you get a lighter and you cut it on, try to spark a flame, but instead of fire, it was stones, and they will leak out of this portal. And whoever that guy said, "Depart from me," flew down this place, and the flame, the stones were so hot that it would burn everybody outside.
Now, I just want to say real quick, when he says portal, you got to remember he's trying to describe something with words that we don't have existed. It kind of reminds me of like Paul, not Paul, excuse me, John in the book of Revelation when he's trying to describe things that he saw in heaven. God took him to heaven. He's trying to describe. He used the best words that he could at the time for what he can see. And so this young man is doing the same thing. He's saying portal, but he's trying to describe something that he really don't have words for. So that I thought that was very interesting. But let's continue on.
Of that portal on the left side of our body or our form, it will burn us, and everybody be like, "Ooh!" Like as if it was so cold or so hot. You would tell somebody to close that door. It's too cold. That's how hot it was, and the portal closed, and then he sent them so fast that the screams were late. I would hear like it was like depart from me, and it closed up. Then the screams come
Hold on. I want to make sure you hear this. That brother said, when God said, "Depart from me," he said they went to hell so fast that their screams were late. He said God was sending people to hell so fast that their screams were late. They were already be in hell before you could even hear the screams, man. Their screams were delayed. Man, that's powerful. That's powerful.
And it terrified me. And then out of nowhere, something snatched us up. And like we moved up the line. And I began to think, I didn't understand where we was. I'm like, oh my God, maybe this is judgment. Yeah, I had many questions, and I would hear, depart me, depart me, depart from me, and all these different people will be sent to hell. And the part that scared me the most was the people that were getting judged. You could hear when God was talking to them, and you could hear everything they got judged from. So if somebody went to hell for something that you knew you struggled with in your life, you know where you were going. And so I'm just seeing people go, shoo, sit there, boom, boom. And I'm seeing the flame and it's just constantly burning everybody outside that haven't been judged yet. And I could hear some of the people talking to God. And I remember there was a woman, blonde hair. And God was talking to her. He said, I'm not judging you for what you put on Facebook, but I'm judging you on how everybody else received it. 300,000 people were led astray by one of her Facebook posts. And he said their blood was on her hands. And I don't know what he said, depart from me. And I'm talking about, I couldn't express how powerful his words were. It's as if he said, depart from me, and everything shook. Boom. And she was sent with great force. And the portal opened up. Boom. She would go fly. And it would close. And like, ah, the screams was so late. It terrified me. People, adultery, fornication, so many different things that I could actually hear. And people in front of me were terrified because a lot of those people were struggling or went through the same situation and they never repented. So thousand, 1,000, sent here. They would go, they were flying. They was flying so fast. I've never seen something so fast. And it got to the point where I was next in line and he called me up and he started talking to me. And keep in mind that our life held us hand to hand. So anything we did in our our life testified against us. So you couldn't lie because your life testified. Say yes.
Hold on, y'all. Listen to that. Listen to what that brother just said. Listen to what he just said, y'all. He said, when you get into the judgment, your life is going to testify against you. You can't even lie. You can't even lie. He said your life will testify. Yeah, you did it. Yep, you said it. Yes, you meant it. Man, that's deep, y'all. That's deep. That's deep.
Yes, you did. You did this. You did this at this time. Yes, you did. And whenever God would speak to me, you would see a big screen. Like you would see as if whatever God says, it comes to life. And so he started talking to me and he started telling me everything that I could have did better. And and at this point, I'm like, okay, God, I could do this better. I did it. I did okay with it, but I could have did better. So he began to say other things and he brought up this specific woman. And he asked me why didn't I forgive her? And he gave me her specific name. I'm not gonna say it. He gave me her specific name. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. He asked me why didn't I forgive her? I said, I did, God, I did forgive her. He said, well, uh, if you forgave her, when you get on the phone and talk to her, why is it that you treat her like the situation happened all over again? And I'm like, God, but I did forgive her. He said, well, if you forgave her, why are those seeds still in your chest? And I looked down. I was like, oh my God, that's what those are for. Those are seeds of what I did in my life, the things I didn't forgive. So he was talking to me, and I was like, oh my God. And he told me, he looked at me and said, because you didn't forgive her, I didn't forgive you some of your sins. And I was like, oh my God. And he started telling me so many other things, and he ain't told me not one good thing yet. And at this point, I'm getting terrified because my mind is starting now going to a place where I'm imagining how hot this fire is going to be when this portal open. And so, I'm scared. I didn't know how to explain how terrified I was. Words can describe when you meet God face. Words can describe how terrifying it is to look your Creator face to face. And where there's nothing hid from Him. There's nothing. Your inner thoughts are revealed before Him. Your perception, how you feel, everything that you hosted in this body is presented before Him. And so I got to a point where I didn't want to hear God no more. I was really turning my head because I was afraid that you know it's already made his mind up. I was so afraid, and so I turned my head, and he would just come to tell me everything that I didn't do right, or I should have did better. And at this point, I knew I was going to hell. I knew it. I was fully persuaded that this was it. So I turned my head, and I was like, I don't want to hear no more of it. My mind, I don't hear. I'm just really trying to imagine how hot hell is going to be. I'm like, oh my God, Lord, I have no more chance. If I go down there, I can't come back. Like, Lord, please don't send me to hell. Please, like God, please. I'm begging you, and I'm more terrified. I was more terrified than I can express. And so I turned my head, and at this point, I no longer wanted to hear what he had to say because I knew at this point, I was going to hell, and I would have my head turned, and out of nowhere there was this one feeling that would come over there.
Hold on, let me say this real quick. He said it got to the point where it seemed like God didn't had nothing good to say. His whole life was just messed up. And he said he got to the point where he didn't even want to hear it no more. He was just like, man, I'm just trying to imagine how hot this fire is going to be. That got to be the most terrifying feeling in the world, knowing that if I go here, I can't get back out. This is forever, forever and ever and ever. He said, man, I just didn't want to hear no more because I don't know what to do at this point. Man, that's deep, y'all. That's deep.
The interface of my soul, and I would turn my head, it would go in slow motion, and the tears would fly from my face. And I looked at God, and I was looking at His judgment. What was going to be my judgment? And He looked at me. He said, face to face, you don't get it well done. You get it. You barely made it. And He stepped back and said, come. And at this point, I was
Oh, no, no, I know I stopped again. Listen, did you hear what he said? God said to him, you don't get a well done. You get a you barely made it. You barely made it. That's deep, y'all.
was so confused. I'm like, oh my God. And on the left side of God, heaven would open up, so soft, with brilliant lights. The colors were undescribable, like colors I've never seen before in my life. It was so so pretty, so amazing, and the colors will blossom as they grow, and as they grew, and the heaven will open up so gentle, and I will walk toward that direction, and my hand would go in the portal, and when my hand went through, it got bigger. My arm went through, it got bigger. It was like I was growing into a a mature state of a glorified body. And so my leg went through, like got bigger, and you can see how big I got on the other side, and how my soul was being transformed into a glorified body. And my body would go through it, and only piece that was left behind was my leg. And right before my last foot got in, I woke up. The dream scared me so bad. I was underneath our living room table for hours. I was so terrified. I was terrified to move. I was terrified to do anything because I was afraid it was going to be added to my judgment. I thought that was the judgment. That didn't feel like a dream. I could.
So, man, so think about that, y'all. That brother testimony was something else. He said a couple things that I just want to make comments on. Um, the first thing I want to make a comment on is it sounded like where he was at was the judgment. And if you guys are saved, you listen to the video, you saved, you're Christian, you study your Bible, you know that there's going to be two types of judgment. There's going to be the judgment seat of Christ, and then it's going to be the great white throne judgment. The judgment seat of Christ is for all the believers who are saved, who die or get raptured up. I don't know if you post rapture, pre rapture, um, but those will face the great white. Excuse me, those will face the judgment seat of Christ, where you are judged for your works, but you will receive either reward or no reward. And so that's found in, I think, First Corinthians. I believe First Corinthians, the fifth chapter, maybe the 10th verse, somewhere around there. And then in the book of Revelation, around about the 20th chapter, it talks about the great white throne judgment. And that's where everybody else is going to be judged from. And it talked about the books being open, the books with an S on the end of it being open, which were the books that you're going to be judged from. And then there was another book, BOOK, singular, where if your name was not written or found in that book of life, you was cast into the lake of fire. And so, man, it sounds like that's exactly what he was describing. Let me show you something here real quick. Let's go here. I don't know if you can see that. Matthew's 25:40-42 talked about when he said, "Depart from me," man. Listen, verse 40, 41, and 42, it says, "And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, insomuch as you have done it unto the least of these my brother, you have done it to me." This was a parable that he was talking about where a rich man or a poor man, or you go around and you see somebody that's poor and not doing something that you, if you're not giving them anything. He said, then he should say unto them at his left hand, Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. You know, there's a lot of people who say that they don't believe in hell. You know, again, I listened to the testimonies of this young man, the testimonies of some others through that movie, After Death, and everybody's saying the same thing. They saying hell is real. It's a real place, y'all. People are going there. Now, whether you believe it or not, I don't know. I tell you what, leave me a comment in the comment box. Let me know if you believe hell is real or hell is not real. Just leave your comment. Um, and again, no, we just having discussions here. But I'll tell you what, I believe, this is me, I believe that hell is real. All right, y'all, I think we said enough about this subject. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you want to get a chance, again, the title of that video was Urgent Warning. God showed this man the judgment day. You can find it on YouTube. Um, don't forget to like, share, and um, share this video with others. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna do a couple series videos on this, I think, and see where we go from there. But until then, may God keep you, bless you, continue to have His mercy on you. I thank you for watching this episode of Can I Get a Witness? Until we meet again, I'm out of here, y'all. Later.